11th round, Kell Brook took a knee, right? Kell Brook quit.
But going back to Brook, I think it's better off. You know, he's been taking a lot of punishment in these late rounds. You know, maybe he knows something we don't know. You know,
let me mute this for a minute. Okay.
For starters, it's the eye, but he'd also taken a lot of punching. I mean, Errol had been punishing in the later part of the fight.
Very rough night for him, while it's a joyous one for Errol Spence Jr., who becomes the 4th U.S. Olympic.
Okay, so before we hear post-fight interviews, let me say this. People are going to say Errol Spence is not the truth and he didn't look good and everything, but remember, this was his first big test. And I've always been this way since I've covered boxing on YouTube. I don't give fighters credit and I don't hype them up or say that they're going to be this or that until they pass their first big test. Chris Algieri wasn't a big test for Errol Spence. Leonard Bundu wasn't a big test. Even though he stopped them both and looked good doing it, this was his first big test. So this is where I say I'm giving Errol Spence his credit, and now I can say, okay, he's going to be a problem for Keith Thurman. He'll be a problem for Danny Garcia. He'll be a problem for Sean Porter. Now, with that being said, Kell Brook did gas out, but I don't want to hear no excuses about weight, and he shouldn't have been fighting at that weight. He knew very well, you know, when he took this fight that he had to be in the best shape of his career. Now, he was doing excellent, you know, all the way up until round 7. Round 7 was the turning point. Now, a lot of Olympic gold medalists, what I've noticed is when it comes to finishing fights, or when it comes to not finishing but adapting to a fighter's style, it takes them some time. Now, Errol Spence had 2 things working for him. He had now what we see is a mental breakdown of Kell Brook. I'm thinking that, okay, what eye was that? The left eye. The left eye took a lot of damage from Errol Spence's jab, right? And he kept, you know, blinking and wincing throughout the later rounds, especially once it started to swell up. Remember, Golovkin broke the right eye. So I'm thinking something is mentally going on where he's thinking like, damn, you know, Errol Spence fucked my eye up. I wonder if this orbital bone is broken too. You know, so the way he quit, I mean, you know, it seemed like a mental breakdown. Errol Spence broke his will, but you have to also question, where is Kell Brook going to be mentally? Now, Kell Brook is a warrior. At one point in time, he was just taking clean shots with his face. And this was a fight where Errol Spence is volume punching, not only to the body, but up top. Kell Brook is a 2 to 3 punch at a time throwing guy. But however, he is very good at fighting on the inside or tying you up on the inside, you know, to try to get his shots off. But Errol Spence just was the better fighter. So now it's like, where does Kell Brook go from here? Does he take a year off, you know, or does he get back out there? Right now, it's hard to really say because now we have to really wonder what's going on with that eye because the way he quit, you know, it started to make me think that, you know, it was mental damage because it was like you had 1 round left. You know, he had half of the 11th round and then the 12th round left. But Errol Spence was starting to literally do whatever he wanted. Let's live.
Home country to his hometown, you're champion of the world. Break the fight down for us.
I came out the first round trying to force my jab. I was overshooting it, and he was countering me with it. And you know, I think the layoff kind of had me kind of shaking there. You know, not more layoff, but you know, he's a tricky fighter. He's awkward. He's very strong and he can punch. But you know, I proved it today that I have a chin and I have true grit.
Did you live up to your hype and reputation today? And were there any doubts at all coming in?
Well, there was no doubts at all. You know, I kind of give myself a B-. I don't think I, you know, did too good. I think I was a little bit off on my offense and my defense. But you know, I give Kell a lot of credit. You know, I give these fans, they're beautiful fans, they're hardcore fans. You know, they came out here to support their hometown champion.
Is it that little bit more special that you've had to come here to do it, to the UK to do it, to leave the States?
Definitely, it's a legacy defining fight. That's what true champions do. You know, you go anywhere to fight. You know, he came to America and took the title, so I came over here to take the title from him. But he's a true champion. I wanted to fight the champion, and Kell Brook gave me the opportunity, and I thank him for that.
You and your team would have had a game plan and tactics. Did the fight pan out how you thought it would?
It didn't pan out exactly how I thought it would. I thought I'd be a little bit sharper. But you know, I didn't feel that sharp tonight. But you know, that's what true champions do. They push it out, and you know, they show true grit like I did.
What about round 10? You had him down and you had him hurt, but he pushed you all the way. Was that one of the best rounds of your career?
Well, definitely that was one of the best rounds. He showed he a true champion, just like he did with Golovkin. He was hurt. You know, he was tired. He was fatigued. And, you know, he pushed it out. He came back firing shots. I came back firing shots, and that was an awesome 10 round.
Do you believe this is the start of a long reign at the top of the welterweight division?
Definitely. The goal is to unify the timers. You know, I want to fight Keith Thurman next. You know, Manny Pacquiao next. I want to fight the champions, unify the division, become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
Well done tonight. Enjoy all of the celebrations. You're champion of the world.
Thank you.
Let's have a word with Kell, Brook.
Hey,
Kell. Commiserations. What went wrong tonight?
It were a very tough fight, and I'd say Spence is one of the best kids I've beat in weight, if not the best. I got caught in about the 7th round in the eye, and it felt like same as the Golovkin one. Probably not as bad at that time, but it was getting it on it over the round, and it was getting worse. And in the last round, it caught me in it, and it just stuck there, double vision, and I couldn't see out of the eye now. I couldn't see, so I had to stop.
How did you feel the fight was going up until that point?
I thought it was a very competitive fight. You know, maybe he won a few rounds, I won a few rounds. It was very competitive. I felt I was in the fight, but you know, I looked to fight on another day. I'm gutted in front of my own fans here in Steel City, Sheffield, that I've lost my belt. I'm devastated.
What about what you two have managed to achieve tonight by putting 30,000 in this stadium? It would have been easy for you to vacate this title and move up in weight.
I'm just saying, when I was walking out there, the tunnel, and I was looking up, and I was seeing everybody. I've never even seen that before, even when football was playing all over on the pitch and all over the stands. It was amazing to see. I'm so proud of myself that I brought this to Sheffield, and Sheffield went the United together, and tonight we're about Sheffield.
What happened at the end of the fight with the count? Did you miss the count, or was the eye just too bad to go on?
You know, I got caught, and I got hurt when I got put down and got a count. You know, but I got back up and fought on. I'm a warrior. I would have got through the fight, but when you can't see, there's nothing you can do.
Will you chase a rematch, or does the future for you live up in weight?
I love to talk to Eddie. You know, I'll fight anyone, absolutely anyone, wherever. You know, the money is wherever. What the fans want me to want me to have. That's what I'll do.
But the money down now, bro.
To wait again?
Yeah, I could.
You got a final message for everyone that came out? I know you're disappointed.
I'm sorry for everyone who come out. You know, but I'm happy that we've made a great night for Sheffield tonight. You know, we've brought a lot of revenue into Sheffield. You know, and I'm happy that I've generated that and I've done that. It's been fantastic, the build-up, the hot weather, the weigh-in, the press conference, the fight. I just hope that everyone's had a good night.
Well said. Let's have a quick word with your promoter, Eddie Hearn. Eddie, it's high stakes.
Gotta listen to what Eddie has to say.
The very, very top. A few more boos again.
Why do they boo Eddie Hearn?
Just sum up.
He got y'all boxing on the mat.
Went through tonight, wasn't his night.
I never understand that.
You know, he took this fight because he didn't want to vacate the belt. He wanted to put on an event in Sheffield at Bramall Lane, and it was a night hopefully the city won't forget. They should be very proud of Kell Brook. He broke his eye socket in the 7th round and came back and battled on. Errol Spence is a quality fighter and the best man won on the night.
Wait a minute. Forward? Will you look at a rematch, or will you try and convince Kell to go up in weight now?
No, listen, he's a stubborn man. He didn't want to vacate the belt. I believe he should move to light middleweight. You know, there's a gentleman here, Amir Khan. That's a fight we wanted for, 3, 4. He's more unpopular than me. For 4 or 5 years. But right now, it's all about making sure Kell's okay, healthy. That was a tough fight for him, but he didn't want to vacate the belt. He's a true warrior. Massive congratulations to Errol Spence, and thank you for everyone in Sheffield, particularly the football club and Sheffield Council, for all the help in putting this event together.
Thanks for talking to us.
So wait. So did you hear? So Kell Brooks, is this true? Now, why would Eddie Hearn say that unless the doctors, examined? I guess he's got to go get an x-ray, right, before we know for sure. But that's going to be fucked up if Errol Spence broke his other eye socket. Golovkin broke one, and they're saying that Errol Spence broke the other one. Now, here's what the judges' scorecards was. 97-92 for Spence, 96-93 for Spence, and 95-94 for Spence. Good cards, I have no disagreement. I'm going to have to watch this fight again, but, the right man won. As I said earlier, in in the video, there's been a formula with many, countless Al Heyman fighters to where they first take their first big test, they lose. So I have no type of you know, like bad feelings about Errol Spence. He's a cool dude and a very, very good fighter. But people just like, man, how you don't think Errol Spence is going to beat Kell Brook? It's like, listen, if he beats Kell Brook, then I'll start giving him respect. But as it stands right now, it's like, yo, he ain't do shit. Up until now, of course.
Go the way that you had planned, or was this a bit
This
tougher?
is Errol Spence's second interview.
Tougher. I don't think I was sharper than I wanted to be. I think the 9-month layoff kind of threw me off a little bit, and I was kind of sluggish in there. But you know, true champions show grit, and they show a lot of determination. That's what I proved tonight. That I can take with a lot of questions being that needed to be answered. Can I take a punch? And I proved I can take a punch, and I can also give one back.
What enabled you to get on track in those middle and later rounds?
I felt like I was behind, and like I said, I wasn't as sharp as I wanted to be. So you know, I decided to press the action, come forward, and basically break them down and press them out.
Was there anything at any point that you detected that you knew you would be able to be successful going forward with? Was there a change of momentum in this fight at some point that you could pinpoint, if you can recall right now?
Oh, definitely. I watched some of his fights, and he liked to fight at a certain pace. And once you pick up the pace on him, he kind of break down a little bit, and he can't throw a lot of punches. So I decided to press the action, make him fight at a pace that he didn't want to fight at, and he started breathing hard, and he started slowing down, and I knew that I had him.
What's it like now to realize all of this potential and all of this greatness that has been thrust upon you, and now it's reality? What's that moment, that feeling like?
Oh, it's a dream of mine. You know, this is what true champions do. I came over his backyard in front of 30,000, showed true grit. Didn't let the fans get to me, and proved that I'm one of the best welterweights in the division. Like I said, I was going to prove. So now I'm ready for the best in the division.
Was it intimidating, at least initially, to come out here and have these 30,000 fans against you?
No, it was more motivation. Like I told you before, I'm gonna use it as motivation. I'm gonna use the crowd as a positive, not a negative, and you know, have them quiet. And as you can see, later on in the rounds, nobody's been cheering.
And what was the most important thing tonight? Was it the ability to endure and to suffer through those early rounds and to maintain your composure and stay calm?
Definitely, it was the ability to endure and to maintain composure. And that's all I'm seeing on Twitter, a lot I see on Instagram is, you know, can he take a punch? I don't think he can take care of a punch. We never seen him get punched before. We never seen him taste adversity. And I think I did that today. And I showed true grit. I showed I can take a punch, I can give a punch, and I can keep coming.
Keith Thurman has the titles, and you would like to unify. He obviously has had surgery on his elbow. Would you like him next?
Definitely. I've been calling Keith Thurman out for a long time. Now it's time. You say, you know, I have to prove myself, and I haven't fought anybody where I just beat, you know, the so-called biggest welterweight division, Kell Brook. So now, Keith Thurman, you know, come out. It's time to fight.
Man down.
Oh, man down.
Up to it.
Strap season 2.
All right. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so let's talk about it. Keith Thurman is injured. Take Keith Thurman out of your thought process until at least I'm going to say January. You know, because he had surgery, right? The doctor said, you know, pretty much no contact or any type of training for 6 months, right? Where you might as well say we're in June. So he can't start a training camp until at least January. So which means he won't be having a fight until at least March. So take him out of your thought process for right now when it comes to fights. Errol Spence can't sit around and wait, you know, for Keith Thurman. He's got to go on to fights. Or also understand that Keith Thurman or Errol Spence haven't been ducking each other. When it comes to Keith Thurman ducking Errol Spence, it's what Al Heyman wants, right? Where you guys going to understand that? If Al Heyman says, all right, now it's time for Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, it's going to happen. He wanted Errol Spence to get a belt first, you know, and now the Keith Thurman fight is a much bigger fight. Hardcore boxing fans should know this. Fighters fight when Heyman tells them to fight. You see what I'm saying? Especially in this landscape of fighters having to fight each other now because of the lack of networks to put them on. For example, you heard about Errol Spence and his 9-month layoff. You know, so look at it like this, right? Errol Spence is now in the very good situation, but also he's in a situation where being the IBF champion, you have to fight your mandatories. Now, one of his mandatories was supposed to be Kirsten Pinomirov, whose trainer is Abel Sanchez, and he's been, as Abel Sanchez, dialed back. So now Errol Spence's next mandatory could probably be, listen, let me tell you what I see, yo. Let me tell you what I really see. I see Errol Spence versus Luis Collazo. Luis Collazo is ranked number 4 by the IBF. That's very Al Haymanish, right? I see that. That's very, very Al Haymanish. Now remember, when you're champion, go look at the IBF rankings. When you're champion, you have to fight somebody in the top 15. So this was a mandatory. You know, so Errol Spence has a voluntary. Who will that voluntary be? Of course, it's going to likely be an in-house Al Haymon guy that has to be somewhat of a known name, because that's the way Al Haymon's been rolling lately. So when you look at the names that are on this list, and this is what, a Bradley Skeet? I don't know how the hell Jose Benavidez is still ranked. You know, you got Saddam Ali, and I'm talking about names that you know. You know, you got Dusty Harrison. He already beat Chris Van Herden. So Luis Collazo seems like the most likely of opponents. You know, or could he fight Lamont Peterson? But guess what? Lamont Peterson has that underling belt. They would have to do some old Guillermo Rigondeaux like they did. Basically, in order for him to fight Lamont Peterson for a unification, they would have to strip Keith Thurman. It's a weird way the WBA worked, but they did it to Guillermo Rigondeaux to make Cole Frampton versus Scott Quigg. But they won't do that to Keith Thurman. So you may say, why don't he fight Lamont Peterson? Can't happen. Remember, Keith Thurman has 2 belts, the WBC and the WBA. So unless Errol Spence unifies with Manny Pacquiao, which will likely not happen, then Errol Spence is going to have to fight somebody in the top 15 of his division. And I've already said, Luis Collazo seems like, you know, the most likely of opponents. But anyway, I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. We have so much things to talk about in detail because, as you know, I've been off this week. I'm working on some major things. We couldn't get to the fight, you know, some BS with Matchroom, but we're going to talk about that later on in my stream. So I'm going to take a few hours off, and then later on I'm going to do a live stream. We're going to talk about everything, the news of the day, the news of the week, the fights that are coming up, because obviously I'm behind. TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live.